What's up, y'all? It's your man Brandon Tyler. Yeah, I'm running errands again, and I completely forgot that I was doing this video making thing. Trying not to hit this elderly woman who just popped out of her car. But yeah, as of right now when I'm making this video, I still haven't uploaded the other one. I started the light editing that I was going to do on it. I guess I was just really self-conscious about the video, to be honest. And I don't know if I don't think I thought anybody would be interested in it. But, you know, there's something I'm still breaking through, honestly. And gotten a lot of inspiration recently, you know. Like this morning, I was looking through my Instagram. I actually just re-downloaded Instagram yesterday or last night. And I completely had it off my phone. I don't have Facebook on my phone. I don't have the Twitter app on my phone, but I always go to it through the browser. I thought that I was being slick by making myself delete the app, but Twitter is the one that I still kind of am addicted to, and I go to it through the browser. But that's neither here nor there. My point is that I was looking through Instagram this morning, through my Instagram, and I was like, wow. Like, I was honestly floored by all the things that, like, I've accomplished, all of, like, really, really good content that I have on there. And even the word content has become such, like, an empty thing, but, you know, all the good stuff I have on there, all the good, we'll just call it content, but all the good content I have on there, from the singing to the raps to the speaking, like I'm doing now, to the photos, just everything, like all the amazing stuff. And it's just really also a timeline of my journey from when I started my Instagram in 2016 up until about like 2020, when I was last like heavily using it. I think the last post I have there is from like 2023. But yeah, just watching through my Instagram was so inspiring. And I do a similar thing from time to time where I go back and I listen to like all my old music, mostly unfinished old music, on my computer, and I kind of wow myself, and I forget that I'm really talented. I forget that I'm really able to do things and complete things and do them really well, like exceptionally. I forget this. And over the last 2 years or so, like the last like 2.5 years, since about spring 2023, let's call it 2.5 years, because probably even before that, I've been just really in this dark night of the soul, like really, really like dark night of the soul, like, and not in like this cute way that, you know, people make it look on TikTok, and the cute way that they make ego death look on TikTok. Like, I've been going through some hardcore ego death, some hardcore dark night of the soul, man. Like, and this is not like, it's not cute like how they make it sound on Instagram. I mean on TikTok. Like, it's not cute at all. Like, this is not for, you know, the faint of heart, as they say. It's not. And just going through my Instagram today, I was just like, wow. You know, wow. So it's I don't 100% know where to go from here, but I don't think I have to 100% know. And I think that's a big part of like the blockages that I've had, where I feel like I need to 100% know what I'm doing, or 100% be prepared in everything that I'm doing, and have 100% of the knowledge before I can even go into anything. or be certain that I can do it perfectly before I go into something. And that's just not true. And also I've just been so down on myself like the last 2.5 years, you know, thinking like I can't do anything right, you know, thinking that stuff is never going to get better. And honestly, like, there is a lot of grim truth that, you know, I've been coming to terms with, and that's like the grim truths are grim, right? But it's like, we're here in this life. Like, what are we gonna do? You know, I kind of had this like vision yesterday where I don't know what this cop is doing. Oh my God! Like what? Like why did you? What are we doing? And he's in like a Hyundai Tucson. I've never seen that. Like, that's crazy. Every time I come on these videos, it's crazy. Like, the same thing happened the last video, as y'all will see if I upload it. Every single time I do this, like, the cops just show up. That's crazy. That's crazy. And that made me lose track of what I was thinking about again, just like in the last video. And I know I'm a bit disorganized with what I'm saying, which, if you've watched my speaking stuff before, you know that that's just how I am. Or if you know me in real life, you know that that's how I am. But I'm just saying, I've gotten a lot of inspiration recently, and this morning was great. Just going through my Instagram. I actually got a little bit of a later start today on my errands because I was doing that, but I'm totally not beating myself up about that like I would at some points in my life. I'm just like, yes, that's a good thing. I was able to get so much inspiration. And oh yeah, and I was talking about how I had like this vision yesterday about how life, you know, speaking of the grim truths of life, you know, about how life is like being thrown out into open water, right? Like thrown out into open water in the ocean or whatever the case may be. And in life, in any particular point in life, you're going to be doing one of four things: swimming, floating, flailing, and drowning. You know, and I think throughout my life I've oscillated between flailing and floating. You know, and in the last 2 years, I've kind of felt like I've been drowning. Like, it's kind of been a combination of drowning and flailing. But I haven't completely succumbed to it. I almost did, but I haven't completely succumbed to it. So I guess I can't say drowning, but yeah. And I told my wife this analogy, you know, and you know, she thought it was good, and we were talking about it, like, you know, if you're really swimming, if you're swimming, you know, a lot of times it's because you may have life preservers, or, you know, something that's helping you, or you had special training, or whatever the case may be. You know, and I guess the same could be true for the opposite of like drowning. Like, if you're like really drowning, it's like you really haven't had any support. But yeah, I think throughout my life I've done a combination of like flailing and floating. I think earlier in my life I did a lot of floating, but like in like a lot of my more recent life, I've done a lot more flailing. I need to fix this parking job. I know how I am about parking. Yeah, that's better. But yeah. So, you know, I wanna swim as much as I can because we're out here in the open water. We're out here in this thing called the world, in this thing called sentient life, you know, which comes with a lot of suffering. And we know on some level we didn't ask for this. I mean, there's a lot of metaphysical thought that says that on some level we did ask for this, and I can understand that too, and I can see that aspect of it too. I can see how we choose our life, we choose a lot of our circumstances, like on a metaphysical level. I can see and understand that, but at the same time, like on like a material level, on a physical level, like we don't choose to be here, and we're thrown out into the open water. So like we're in the open water already, and I want to swim, you know. And I feel like there have been points in my life where I have swam, you know, very well. Still in the analogy speaking. So yeah, I'm trying to do that, and yeah. So the Instagram thing this morning also. You know, on a more somber note, like the passing of our dear brother Malcolm Jamal Warner, who, you know, I didn't know personally, but, you know, celebrity deaths are interesting. Like, some celebrity, like, a lot of times there's some celebrities who, like, you feel like a connection to, right? Like certain people. And it doesn't have to be like the biggest people, you know. Like I know, like with Michael Jackson, like a lot of us felt the connection to him, but he was like the exception. I think a lot of it with me is like with celebrity deaths, like the ones that actually affect me will be ones that like I felt like more of a niche connection to. And you know, Malcolm Jamal Warner, first of all, you know, in my early childhood, he was everywhere. Like in my early childhood, you know, and he was a major face and a major example and a major representation that was out there of a black young man, and like an upstanding black young man. And just his work and his example throughout his career and life, you know, it really was like such great representation because, you know, he was kind of more in the vein that I'm in the sense of like a black male being all about like progress and you know, black masculinity represented in a way that's not like this BS way that, I shouldn't say BS because I shouldn't say that, but like black masculinity in a way that like you don't have to be like, you know, thugged out. You don't have to be you know, you don't have to act like a tough guy all the time. That doesn't mean that you're soft. You know, it doesn't mean that somebody can't catch these hands if they really, you know, want to find out. But it's like, you don't have to walk around acting like a tough guy. You don't have to like, you know, project that type of performance of masculinity, you know. And I really appreciate that about him. And I knew that he, you know, he was a poet, and I remember seeing him on Def Poetry Jam on HBO. And I remember hearing some of his other poetry like years ago, like maybe, you know, late 90s, early 2000s, but I wasn't really aware of like all the poetry work and stuff that he was still doing. And you know, I watched a few of those videos, man, and man, that brother was so on point. That brother was so on point. And even like the interviews and the podcasts that he was on, that I'm so mad like that I didn't get to see those when he was alive and give him those flowers when he was alive. And it's so unfortunate, and I feel a type of way about that. But you know, there's so many people out here. I mean, I can think of like somebody like myself. Like, I'm not a celebrity, but I feel like I've given a lot of like really good content to the world, or to my small world. And I feel like if I drop dead today or tomorrow, people are gonna be like, oh, you know, like, you know, people are gonna be like commenting on this stuff, like, oh, like, this was so good, you know, why didn't I know, like, he was so good, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm, you know, I guess a lot of us, we're all guilty of that in some way. I don't know whether it's because how content is distributed, or I don't know. I don't really have an answer for that, but you know, just the interviews and the poetry and just the words that this brother had, what this brother had in his mind, Malcolm Jamal Warner, was so on point, man. Was so on point. And I was telling my wife how, you know, although he was so huge, like in my early childhood, and although he kept working, like post Cosby and post, you know, the stuff he was doing in the early 90s, he wasn't like as big as he was in the early 90s, because like something happened in like the mid 90s where it was like mass media said, okay, black masculinity is this one thing. And the music industry, especially in the realm of rap music, said black masculinity is this one thing. And he didn't fit that. So, you know, he should have been the biggest star in the world. You know what I'm saying? He was on track to that, to follow in the footsteps of Bill Cosby, who had the greatest sitcom in the world. But you know, around the mid 90s, like I said, mass media started to present, you know, black masculinity as one thing, and then by the end of the 90s, you know, by the late 90s, it was set like, okay, yeah, black masculinity is this one thing. And I have so much appreciation for Malcolm Jamal Warner and what he represented and what he continued to stand 10 toes down and represent, and he never like tried to be anything that he wasn't in the public eye, you know. And yeah, just again, those podcast interviews and those poems, man, like that brother was so on point. And you know, he kept working, even though I know it probably hurt his soul that like the shift in the industry kind of like lowered his trajectory because of the way the industry like shifted. And I saw this interview that he did where he was talking about hip hop and how like hip hop thrives on being anti-black. And I'm like, yes, like finally, like somebody, like a celebrity saying that, like a black celebrity saying that. I'm like, yes, because like I've been saying this for a few years now. I've been saying this for a few years now. Like rap music, and like he specified, the rap music that gets a platform is insanely anti-black. And we're so programmed by it, like he said, we're so brainwashed by it that it gets past us. You know? We just accept it. We just accept, you know, you can make a song about killing other black men. You can make a song about doing bodily harm to other black men. You can make songs about, you know, going to prison. You can make songs about robbing people. You can make songs about, you know, exploiting women and things like that. Exploiting women in all types of ways. You know, you could talk about all of that stuff in your songs. We can call ourselves the N-word all day. You know, but if a brother comes with like a different perspective, that's controversial. You know. Black people's minds are so warped. They're just people in general, in this country at least. Minds are so warped. You know, but I just been doing a lot of like thinking, like in a positive way, like not in like like kind of a doom loop like my thoughts have been for the past couple of years. Like my thoughts have just been one big doom loop. And yeah, part of it is like reconciling those ugly truths, those ugly inevitabilities with making the best of the situations and the situation overall, and really making the best experiences possible. Because that's really the best plan of action, is to make the best experiences possible, to optimize your experience. That's what it is, to optimize your experience. And I think that's what's coming together for me, because you know, when you read about shadow work and you watch videos about shadow work, it talks about like integrating the shadow. And man, I've been doing this very hard shadow work, man, that has been like, I can't even describe how like terrible it's been. But I think something has clicked now where I can start to integrate that shadow, because I always had the goal of like integrating my shadow, but I really had no idea like how to do it or anything like that. But it's not even really a how to do it. It's really like, I don't know. It's really just like doing it once you understand enough. And like I said, I understand like the grim truths about this reality now, as far as like I said, the being thrown into open water. That's when you were given birth. That's when you were born. You were thrown into this open water. And we're all out in this open water. We're all out in this water. And it's like you're either at any moment swimming, flailing, floating, or drowning. And floating is good too, to an extent. Like, I think floating is good. It's just that sometimes you can float for too long, and then, you know, you might fall asleep and, you know, that's a wrap. Or you might float for too long and you just float like way farther away into deeper territory. But yeah, you're doing one of those 4 things, and I feel like, you know, why not, you know, swim and float when we need to. And yeah, there's gonna be some times where you flail, but just making it so you don't have to flail all the time, and so that you don't have to be drowning all the time. So this is very disorganized thoughts. I'm gonna take my walk, and then I'm gonna do my second errand, and then I'm gonna do the part 2 to this video, where I'm gonna talk about attachment styles, because this book that my wife and I were reading yesterday was talking about attachment styles, and it really made a lot click for me. All right, so I don't know how this video turned out, but you know,